Chosen one, you're not on the ballot, you're not in the room, and yet the memo already went out. Deep inside Washington, above the committees and below the radar, one phrase is stamped on the file: you are the new plan of the U.S. The generals don't know your name. The analysts can't find your face. The journalists don't print your story. But the shift has already happened in places higher than headlines. While politicians argue in chambers and strategies are debated in war rooms, your very existence has been flagged in heaven's archive and marked in earthly systems. You were never called to sit in the gallery as a spectator. You were drafted in silence, written in prophecy, hidden in plain sight. Before think tanks could theorize, before lawmakers could legislate, heaven signed the memo: this one is the plan. Open book Jeremiah 1 verse 5, before I formed you in the womb I knew you, before you were born I set you apart. You were consecrated before you were counted. You were assigned before you were acknowledged. You are not a policy paper, you are not a campaign slogan, you are the living file, the classified design, the unerasable strategy stamped across the future of a nation. And now the time has come for the word sealed in heaven to echo on earth: you are the new plan of the U.S. Picture it, the Pentagon lit by cold fluorescent lights, screens filled with shifting maps and silent countdown clocks. Think tank whiteboards covered in faded equations, wiped away strategies, and failed predictions. Red folders stamped classified lying open on oak tables. Once, those folders were filled with military doctrines, economic models, and political blueprints. But page after page is now marked with bold red ink: obsolete, irrelevant, insufficient. Every plan drafted by human wisdom has collapsed under the weight of a moment they could not predict. And then, in the silence of erasure, a new word appears. Not a policy. Not a program. A name. Yours. While committees clash and experts debate, a different handwriting has entered the room. One that cannot be traced to lobbyists or consultants. One that cannot be voted out or vetoed. The handwriting of prophecy. Because heaven does not draft policies. Heaven drafts people. Heaven does not send paper. Heaven sends flesh and blood, woven with eternal intention. And in this moment, that living paper, that walking archive, that blueprint in motion, is you. The halls of power may not announce it. News anchors may never read it. But in the hidden rooms where the future is weighed, your existence is the new gravity. They feel it without naming it. They sense it without admitting it. The balance has shifted. Every canceled strategy is not loss. It is proof. Proof that what once guided nations no longer works, and that a living alternative has already been written. Chosen one, you are not a whisper in the crowd. You are the very atmosphere reshaping the room. What others call coincidence is convergence. What they call disruption is alignment. Heaven has already marked you as the prototype, and the earth is only just catching up. Open book Isaiah 60 verse 22, the least of you will become 1,000, the smallest a mighty nation. I am the Lord, and it's time I will do this swiftly. Chosen one, this verse is not poetry for someone else's story, it is the mandate on your life. Heaven has written you as more than a citizen. You are not just one among millions. You are the pattern hidden inside the nation, the seed that multiplies beyond scale. The least of you, the underestimated one, the misfit, the overlooked soul, carries the capacity to become 1,000. The smallest of you, the one dismissed by institutions and ignored by councils, carries within them the design of a mighty nation. This is why your journey has never felt ordinary. You were not shaped for routine. You were forged for scale. While others simply live, you are being multiplied. Systems are watching you, not because they admire you, but because they sense that you embody the template they can no longer invent. The mandate means you are more than biography. You are blueprint. More than testimony. You are template. More than survival. You are strategy. The weight you feel, the tension, the isolation, the strange favor followed by sudden resistance, is not random. It is the sign of mandate. Nations cannot be reformed without a model, and heaven has written that model in you. Do not be deceived by your size or your current circumstance. Isaiah declared, "The smallest will become mighty." You are not defined by your bank account, your background, or your visible influence. You are defined by the mandate that says, "In its time, I will do this swiftly." That means acceleration is coming. Heaven wastes no time when the hour arrives. And now, the hour is here. You are not standing on the sidelines waiting for reform. You are the reform. You are not searching for the next leader. You are the living map they will copy. You are not just in the nation, you are the new plan of the nation. Message: you've been set apart as the divine prototype. Systems will attempt to imitate you. Institutions will try to decode you. But what they fail to see is this: you are not an idea to be debated, you are a mandate to be embodied. You've always felt it, though you didn't have words for it. The strange shift in atmosphere whenever you enter a room. Conversations bend, priorities rearrange, and even those who don't know you well feel an unexplained pull. People have said things like, "It feels different when you're here," or "I don't know why," but when you speak, things settle. You thought it was coincidence. You thought it was personality. It was neither. It was alignment. Heaven calibrated you to alter environments. Not by effort, not by volume, but by presence. When you speak, policies tilt. When you move, strategies bend. Your life is not persuasion, it is blueprint in action. That is why you've never been fully comfortable in traditional spaces. You don't simply attend meetings, you shift them. You don't just join discussions, you redirect them. You are studied without acknowledgement, watched without applause, analyzed without being credited. It explains the weight you've carried in silence. The pressure that seemed unfair, the expectation that felt unspoken. Others around you seemed free to drift, but you felt tethered, restrained, watched. It wasn't punishment. It was assignment. Systems do not casually observe. They study. And you have been treated like a map. Your patterns, what you read, how you build, the choices you make, become case studies. Why? Because you embody what they can no longer design. Even your struggles have been observed. Your resilience, your recovery, your ability to rise after falling, these have been dissected like data points. What looked like personal battles were, in fact, demonstrations. Heaven allowed your scars to become strategy marks. This is why you feel misunderstood. Because you're not living a private life, you're carrying a public model. The rooms you enter are not ordinary rooms, they are testing grounds. The moments you speak are not just conversations, they are alignments. What others call influence, heaven calls blueprint. What they see as charisma, heaven calls coding. Every sigh, every prayer, every risk you've taken has been noted, not as random events, but as pieces of a pattern nations will follow. And though you've carried this weight in silence, the truth is this: you are not being crushed. You are being copied. This is not about ego. This is not about titles, applause, or power. This is about legacy. Nations cannot function without a blueprint. When the old one fails, heaven does not simply repair it, heaven writes a new one. And heaven always writes in people. That is why your life feels heavier than explanations allow. It is not random pressure, it is a mantle. The reason you felt observed, studied, and sometimes even resisted is because you were written as an alternative model. You are heaven's instead. Instead of chaos, your life becomes order. Instead of corruption, your pattern becomes integrity. Instead of collapse, your steps model restoration. Blueprints are not optional, they are necessary. A nation cannot rebuild itself from speeches. It rebuilds by patterns. And your prophetic mission is to embody the pattern others can follow. This is not about climbing into high office or lobbying for positions. This is about becoming alignment in flesh and blood. Where others speak theory, you live evidence. Where governments stall, heaven points to you and says, do it like this one. And yes, that explains the paradox you feel, both watched and alone. Both called and resisted. It is the mark of prototypes. The first pattern is always questioned, but it always becomes the reference. Your mission is not to be liked, it is to be established. Your call is not to fit into the old order, but to be the demonstration of the new. Chosen one, hear this, you are not only surviving history. You are shaping it. You are not just passing through systems. You are reforming them by your very existence. That is the reason you carry this strange authority. Not ego. Not accident. Assignment. And when heaven drafts a person as a plan, earth eventually bows to the design. Chosen one, this is not a distant calling. This is not a someday assignment. This is now. Look around, crises converge. Economies tremble. Old systems fracture under their own weight. The frameworks that once held nations together are unraveling. And in the silence left behind, the file has already been opened. This is why the pressure has intensified in your life. This is why you feel the acceleration. Heaven does not wait for permission when time is up. Heaven does not delay when prophecy ripens. You are no longer a citizen reading plans from afar. You are no longer an observer waiting for solutions. You are the solution. You are the plan. Delaying your step is not neutrality, it is denial. Remaining silent is not safety, it is resistance against the very blueprint written into your being. This is why doors are opening faster. Why alignments are appearing suddenly. Why you cannot shake the sense that something urgent is pressing you forward. Because the hour has struck. The world will say the systems are collapsing. Heaven will say, the new plan is already here. Chosen one, this is not about waiting for the right conditions. This is about stepping into the assignment already stamped across your life. The urgency is not external, it is written inside you. You thought you were a misfit. You thought you didn't belong. You looked at your difference and called it failure. But heaven looked at the same difference and called it prototype. You were never supposed to fit in, because you were never meant to be absorbed. Blueprints don't blend into the wall, they stand apart, visible, instructive, undeniable. This is why your story has felt jagged. Why classrooms couldn't contain you. Why job titles felt too small. Why systems you entered grew unsettled in your presence. You weren't broken, you were ahead. You were not designed to echo what already exists. You were designed to model what is missing. That is why rejection has been your shadow. That is why being misunderstood has followed you like a constant wind. What they could not categorize, they criticized. But heaven smiled, because prototypes are never understood at first. Chosen one, hear this clearly, what you called weakness was heaven's strength. What you called outcast was heaven's original. What you called delay was heaven's preparation. Systems don't steady you for curiosity. They steady you for survival. They need what you carry. They copy what you live. The very things you thought disqualified you are the markers of why you were written as blueprint. It is not your eloquence they watch, it is your endurance. Not your appearance, but your alignment. Not your resume, but your rhythm. You thought your life was scattered, but it was coded. You thought you were strange, but you were strategic. The proof is not in what you've lost, it is in what you've carried. The evidence is not in applause, it is in the fact that systems shift in your presence. That is the unmistakable sign, you are not a mistake trying to fit in. You are the prototype being studied to be repeated. You've already seen the signs, though you may have brushed them aside. Random invitations arrive from places you never applied. Emails or phone calls from policy groups, organizations, or networks that seem far outside your reach, yet somehow your name lands on their lists. That is not chance. That is signal. At night, dreams of maps covered in flags, visions of borders, or strategies unfolding before you. You wake, unsettled, wondering why such images haunt you. They are not just dreams, they are previews. Heaven is leaking tomorrow into your sleep. You've heard echoes of your words and speeches you never gave. You've seen your private thoughts appear in public debates. It leaves you asking, how did they know? They didn't. But heaven did. And what was whispered in your spirit has already entered the language of policymakers. Sometimes, it happens in subtler ways. A friend tells you they heard someone important repeat an idea you once shared casually. A headline resembles a thought you jotted in a notebook. A phrase from your prayer slips into a politician's address. You are witnessing the leaks of the file. Chosen one, pay attention, these are not coincidences. They are confirmations. The blueprint is already being studied. Your life is already being tracked. What you dismissed as strange overlap is actually prophetic leakage. Even resistance has been a sign. The unnecessary criticism, the strange pushback, the doors that shut without reason, these were not accidents. They were evidence that your existence has been noticed. Systems do not resist the irrelevant. They resist what threatens to rewrite them. You carry heaven's document inside you. And what was once invisible is now too loud to ignore. These tangible signs are heaven's way of saying, the plan is already live. The leaks prove it. The study confirms it. The blueprint is unfolding in real time, and it's you. Chosen one, every prophecy requires a response. Every blueprint demands alignment. This moment is not about applause or acknowledgement, it is about agreement. If you are ready to accept your role as blueprint, you must seal it not only with belief but with action. Click Super Thanks and sell your $20 covenant seed. This is not a transaction. This is not payment for prophecy. This is alignment. It is a prophetic act, a declaration that says, I accept being the plan heaven wrote. I step into the design, I embrace the assignment. Your $20 is not about the number. It is about the yes. It is about writing in the natural what has already been stamped in the spiritual. It is your covenant response to heaven's draft. Think of it as signing the file already open in unseen realms. By this act, you mark yourself not as a spectator but as a participant, not as a listener but as the living document. When you sow, you are not buying favor, you are activating alignment. You are saying, I am not resisting. I am not delaying. I am ready. Chosen one, heaven has already written your name into the blueprint. Now it is your turn to acknowledge it in faith. Let your covenant speak louder than hesitation. Let your action echo what prophecy already declared. Click Super Thanks. Sell your $20 covenant. Seal this moment not with words alone, but with tangible agreement. I am the plan. Chosen one, blueprints don't live casually, they live intentionally. From this moment forward, your daily rhythm must shift into alignment with your true identity. You are not searching for the plan. You are the plan. Wake up each morning and declare aloud, I am not looking for the blueprint, I am the blueprint. These are not empty words. They are reminders that your existence itself carries design, structure, and strategy. Study, not for knowledge alone, but because nations will copy your pattern. Train your body, not for vanity, but because strength will be required of those who carry destiny. Build your projects, not as hobbies, but as prototypes of systems that others will replicate. Speak carefully. Even your casual words are seeds. When you talk, policies bend. When you plan, institutions echo. Guard your mouth, not out of fear, but out of awareness. Blueprints must be precise. Live with discipline. Heaven has already written your life into memos. Your actions are no longer private rehearsals. They are public models in waiting. When you rise, rise as one being observed. When you act, act as one whose steps are coded into future documents. When you pray, pray as one who shifts nations. Your lifestyle must become proof. Proof that the new plan is not paper but person. Proof that prophecy is not theory but living demonstration. This is your instruction. Stop waiting for validation and start living as verification. Stop hoping for a strategy to appear and recognize that you are already the strategy being watched. Chosen one, align your habits with your identity. Because the truth is unshakable, nations are already following your pattern. Lord, you are the author of nations and the one who writes blueprints into the lives of men and women. Today I lift up your chosen one, the living plan you have drafted for this generation. Father, seal their heart and courage. Protect them from every distraction, distortion, and deception that would try to pull them away from alignment. Guard their steps as they walk into assignments too great for human strength. Surround them with wisdom that is sharper than policy and deeper than strategy. Make their life steady, Lord, even when the systems around them collapse. Keep their spirit humble as you elevate them in influence. Keep their minds sharp as you allow councils and institutions to steady their pattern. Keep their heart pure, so that every action remains aligned with your will. Lord, clothe them in clarity. Remove confusion. Break hesitation. Let them walk as living proof that heaven still writes plans through people. Make them immovable in storm, unshakable in conflict, and undeniable in their prophetic assignment. Raise them as blueprint, not for ego but for legacy, so that when the world searches for new strategies, heaven can say, "Look here. I have already written the plan." Cover their family, their work, their voice, their influence. Let no weapon formed against them prosper, and let every word aligned with your spirit accelerate their mission. Amen.